Hello, and how are you doing out there today? This is your girl, Tolu Aya Adewusi. It's another amazing time in the kitchen, shooting this episode of Tolu Cooks for you. And today I'm bringing you something local, something from my hometown or from my country, my people. I love the local foods. So today we're making yam porridge, asaro, and I love this dish so much because even when we were growing up, this is a staple in our household. My mom makes this for us. We love to make this. It's another way of you eating your yam. If you don't want to do yam and head, you don't want to do fried yam, don't do. This is another way for you to eat it. So I'm making asaro. Trust me, you'll like this if you try it. So of course, for this amazing dish, we have to use yam. So this is the yam we're gonna be using for this asaro yam porridge. And I have to give a shout out to my wonderful friend. She is an amazing woman, Nana from the African and Caribbean store in Eastland Shopping Center. If you live around the Lexington area, patronize her. She has a wonderful store and she got you covered. I'll tell you that. So, and she was able to help me provide some of the ingredients for this amazing asaro. She knows how much I love it, so she had to kind of like contribute into it. So I really appreciate that. Thank you, darling. So for this asaro, we're gonna be using yam. So I have 1 tuber of yam. The yam is very good. You want to make sure that when you're getting your yam, you don't want your yam to be soft when you push on it. You do not want it soft. You want your yam to be firm, and you don't want it to have a whole lot of brownish spot on it, because that means the yam is already going bad. So we have 1 yam we're gonna be using. Then we're gonna be using some blended pepper. This is my tomatoes based pepper. It's already blended and it's ready to go. I already did an episode on how I achieved this, so you can always watch that so that you can see how to achieve this to make your cooking process faster. I'm gonna be putting in some onions. I'm gonna be putting in some vegetable. This is actually spinach. Some people like to go with bitter leaf. Some people will go with, you can go with any kind of variation of vegetables you like, but I'm going with fresh spinach today. Also for this dish, I like to introduce, it's local dish. So I like to put in the local things into it. I'm gonna be putting in some crayfish. It's already picked and clean. I'm gonna be putting in some dry fish. This is actually shower. We call this shower. This is the Boney fish. So for you to use this fish, you want to make sure that it is picked and you picked out the bone. So I'm gonna be using that. Then I'm gonna be using some dry red jumbo shrimp in this also. Also, for you to achieve your porridge, your yam porridge, you have to put in palm oil. Some people like to go with a variation of using some vegetable oil, but I like to keep it local. I go with palm oil, and palm oil is healthy. So for the seasoning, we're gonna be putting in some curry, some chicken bouillon, some thyme, some garlic salt, some grounded crayfish powder, and of course my ginger and garlic paste. I have a video up also on how I achieve my homemade garlic and ginger paste. So guys, without taking too much of your time, this is Tolu Cook, and let the fun begin.
Tell me who you know, who plans better, that dream come true. Yeah. She not there disappointed.
So the first thing I try to do is I try to get a clean pot and put some water in it so that the water can start boiling. So I just put that there and let it have a go. Then I come back to my yam and I start cutting up my yam. So it doesn't really matter you cutting it in a particular fashion, because I'm gonna be cutting it into cubes. Okay, now that I have all the yam peeled already, I'm gonna go ahead and start dicing this out. We have our yam rinsed out already. So now I'm gonna start cutting it. One of the things you wanna be careful about is whenever you're doing your yam, you wanna make sure that you're careful when you are washing your yam. You do not want to let the water of the yam splash all around, or you rub the yam on your skin, because it becomes very itchy. And if that happens whereby you mistakenly get the yam in places apart from your hands, there is something about yam. Your hands are fine, but when you start letting the water or the yam touch other part of your body, it is very itchy. You can take some palm oil, rub it on it, and it will help you calm down the itchiness. Just letting you know that. So I have it. I'm going for the size of a cube. I do not want it too big, but I want it like cute. So when I have something like this, it's just easier for me to go like that. And if I have anything too big, I can always make sure I reduce it in size. When you have this size, it is easier for it to cook down, and that way it cooks really soft. You don't want it too small. If it's too small, you're not gonna see it in your food. That's why the fact that we're making it into a porridge, we do not want it to disappear altogether. You want to make sure that any little things like this that you found in the yam, you want to make sure you take it out of it. If you don't, and you cook that with your yam, it's gonna be so hard and inedible to eat by the time you finish cooking the yam. So if you notice, there's no particular shape in cutting it. You just want to get it into small size cubes. That's all you're trying to go for. And that's it right there. I think I have a couple of them, just one. And that's all I got out of one tuber of yam. In America or in this part of the world, whenever we say yam, we refer to a species of sweet potato is what they call yam. But in Africa, in some part of the world, this is what we refer to as yam. This is one tuber of yam. This is what I got out of one tuber of yam. So you have to know what this is called in the region in which you live in, so that you'll be able to get the right food to cook. So now I have this ready. I'm gonna go over to the stove and I'm gonna put that into my boiling water. My water is already boiling. I'll put it into the boiling water and I'm gonna let it start cooking. Okay, now, yes, our water is boiling. I'm gonna easily try and put this in because I really do not want it to splash. The water is hot. And I just want the water at a level that covers the yam. So at this rate, I'm just gonna put just a little bit more water. There we go. So now I have all the yam in the water, and I'm gonna also add in some onions. So I'm gonna use about half of the onions. This is half a bulb that I cut, so I'm using like the 1/4 to start. So that's that, and I'm gonna put in a little bit of the garlic salt. So this is half teaspoon, and I'm just gonna use one. And that's all I start with. You gotta have to cover that and let it steam. We wanna cook the yam to the point whereby when you put your fork, it is soft, it is chewable. So I'm gonna let that cook, between medium high. So I don't want it on high. It's gonna let the water dry so quick and the yam might not be totally done. So we're gonna let that steam and cook down. Then we continue the process of cooking this yam porridge. Now I go ahead and I turn the stove down to medium. If you're looking here, this yam is done. Look at that. You see? It's still firm enough that the fork can hold it, but at the same time, you see the way it can break apart. That is what we are going for. So I'm gonna take my ginger and garlic paste, which I have here. So I'm gonna put in just a taste. Then I have my tomato puree sauce that I have in here. And 4 spoonfuls should be perfect. And I'm just gonna go ahead and mix that in. At this time, I'm gonna go ahead and add in my crayfish powder. This is optional, and if you're allergic to seafood, you don't have to use seafood. You can use smoked turkey, and you can actually cook it without putting any seafood in it. I like to put in some obstacles in my food because I always want some protein in it. So you want to mix that well. And you can see as I'm mixing, it's gonna start turning into a porridge. Some of the yam is gonna break down as I'm going in. So I mix that well. And I'm gonna cover it and I'm gonna let it simmer together just for the pepper and all that to cook together. I'm gonna let that go on for like 3 to 5 minutes, and I'm gonna come back and add in my seasoning. Okay, now this has been cooking. We do not want to leave it there too long because we do not want it to burn. So you see me lifting that up. So at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and season this real good. So I'm using garlic salt today. I'm not using the plain salt. So I'm gonna put that in. I'm gonna put in 2 full scoops of my chicken bouillon. I'm gonna use 1 of my thyme and 1 of my curry, and mix that in. I do not want all the yam to fully break, but at the same time, I want to have the soupy part of it. You see, I did not add any other water to it than the water that I started with. That was the only water that was added into this dish. So, this is my palm oil. So roughly I'm gonna put in about 2.5 spoons of this. I do not want to put that spoon in, so I'm just gonna pour a little in it, and that should be good enough. If I need more, I can always add more to it. And since that is fresh oil, I'm gonna cover the pot and let it simmer together for about 5 minutes. Then I'm gonna come add in my vegetable and the rest of my onions, and this dish is ready. So in another 5 minutes, I'm gonna come back and put in my vegetables and my onions and mix it together, and we should be good. Oh, this looks good. The oil has come back to the top. You see that? So I'm gonna go ahead and add in my vegetables. This is completely optional. You can decide to put it in or not, depending on what your tastes are. I like to put in some vegetable in my porridge. Apart from it being healthy, it also gives it color. Okay, I think I have enough vegetables at this point. And I'm using spinach, so you can decide to use any vegetable that comes to mind. If you want to use kale, you want to use collard greens, you want to use tete, ewuro, it depends on what you want to use. Go for it. And I'm gonna put in my onions to top it off. And you see that this dish is ready. I'm gonna cover it and let it build up the steam in it for like 2 minutes, and I will show you what it looks like on the plate. This is amazing, delicious meal. So my people, we have done it again today. I have taken you to my hometown or my country in Nigeria, and I made you a wonderful dish called Asaro Yam Porridge. Look at what we have created for you today. Isn't this dish beautiful? It has your protein in it, we have the yam in it, we have some vegetable in it. This is delicious. This is Asaro Yam Porridge. Please try and make it and let me know what you think, because I really, to be honest with you, I really love this dish, and it's gonna hurt me if you tell me you don't like it. Please try it out, and always remember to hold on to your faith. It is very important, especially in this day and time that we are in, not to let go, not to lose our faith. Hold on to your family and never let go of your wonderful, beautiful friend. This is the tree of life, and it keeps us grounded and it keeps us going. Please guys, remember to subscribe to my channel. Remember to click the notification bell so that way if I drop any new videos, if I'm sharing my recipe with you, you'll be one of the first people to get it. Remember to like this video. I really need that like. I need this encouragement, people. Help your sister here. I am trying. So encourage me to keep doing this by subscribing, by liking it, and by sharing it. Because when you share the video, people will watch and they can also share it too. We need to get Tolu Cooks out there to the world. I love you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next episode of Tolu Cooks.